Hi, I'm back. Oh man, tonight's Raw, it was kind of eventful. It was a good one though. Obviously, I'm gonna elaborate on this whole Shane McMahon, Vince McMahon, Undertaker storyline here. Oh man. Alrighty, so Shane McMahon comes out to a raucous Chicago crowd. Chicago is a great wrestling town. If anybody does not know that. Man. So he comes out, they go nuts. He starts talking about, I was sitting at home watching Raw with my three sons, and I saw The Undertaker, his opponent for WrestleMania. He's like, I have the utmost respect for him. And he's like, then I saw Vincent Kennedy McMahon, referring to his father. He says that he lost a lot of respect for him for what he said, writing him out of his will, saying that he renounces him as his son. And, it's crazy. I mean, they're trying to go back to, like, the stuff they used to do. Trying to. So then he's like, it's my destiny to be in control of Monday Night Raw. Then, Shane McMahon calls his own father an egomaniacal, miserable, old bastard. Yes, he did. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. They're really stirring the pot with this one. They really are. Lost his touch with the business. Lost touch with his fan base. Lost touch with, Shane himself. Saying he lost touch with his grandchildren also. And they're really, they're getting real personal with this stuff. And, obviously dealing with family in real life, you're gonna go there. So they're going there. He's like, if I'm in control of Raw, all these things are going to change. No more authority. That's going to stop. The backstage politics and the backstabbing, which is sucking the life out of this business, is going to stop. All the guys that don't get breaks, that are very talented, should get their breaks. And all the people that don't have talent and get all the breaks, that's going to stop. If there's a chance, any chance that I can defeat The Undertaker, then, I'm going to be in control of Raw the next night. And just, stuff like that. So, the bell tolls. Bell tolls once. The lights go out. Then we hear Mr. McMahon's music. The lights come back on. McMahon, gives his little digs of, oh, you thought it was the dead man. Oh, no. Aren't you disappointed? Look at the fear in your eyes, talking to Shane. So then, of course, being that they're in Chicago, they have a CM Punk chant. And he's like, let's see how long that lasts. And surprisingly, it actually stopped right after he said that. Vince. So, oh, man. Unbelievable. He pulls out a picture of, him and Shane, saying that this was like the first time they were going to go to a wrestling event, Shane's first wrestling event. And, he pulls out the 8x10 picture, still in the frame, and then he's like, oh, I said last week that you were no longer my son. So he drops the picture on the ground, stomps on it, and says, we won't be needing that anymore now, will we? Shane has like a persnickety grin after that happens. So, I don't know, man. Vince, going off saying, oh, I'm Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and you're just Vince's son. Talking cash shit, he really is. And then, saying that his grandchildren are going to watch Shane fail, saying that Shane doesn't know about that because his father is such a success. That whole deal. Oh, man. And then, this is what Vince McMahon says. He says, I quote, it's totally ironic that my greatest creation is going to destroy my greatest failure. So then after that, he sends a security out for Shane McMahon to escort him out of the ring. That whole dilemma. Seen it a million times. And, you know, with wrestling, I don't know. I guess that's just one of those things they have to do. But anyway, you know, there was one security guy that came into the ring. Shane's like, you know, I'll go, just don't touch me. You know, don't fucking threaten me, don't touch me, you know, whatever. I guess he might have felt threatened. He starts attacking the friggin' security guy, and then the other ones come in, and he friggin' cleans house with all them, and beats them all up. So, you know, little warm-up, I guess, for Shane O'Mac. I don't know, man. The Undertaker was not there tonight. They had this little thing with Dolph Ziggler saying that he removed a tweet that, you know, if it was, you know, something like, I was the one responsible for putting the authority out of commission or whatever back in the Survivor Series 2014. You know, kind of random that he just, like, brought that up and tweeted that. I don't get it. I really don't get that. So, by him, you know, I mean, he removed the tweet. Like, it's just so, everything is so politically correct. It really is. So, he removes the tweet. Then he's still, like, you know, rubbing it in Stephanie's face and, you know, backstage. Saying, oh, you know, history has a funny way of repeating itself. And, you know, all that kind of shit. Saying, you know, that by Shane being back, that, you know, this could happen again. That you guys could be out of power. Stephanie, of course, you know, stands her ground. Oh, you know, Shane could, you know, be back and, you know, everything's cool. You know, he can get his little digs and, you know, have his little excitement. But, you know, she says the Undertaker is going to decimate him. You know, saying that exact thing. Decimate. Unbelievable. So then, you know, then she throws him in a 3-on-1 tag team elimination match. But, you know, it's like a handicap tag team elimination match. And it's going to be 3 members of the League of Nations. So that, you know, was his punishment for talking shit to Stephanie. But then later, Stephanie kind of has like a change of heart. And she starts, you know, saying to Vince, oh, you know, it's still your son. You know what the Undertaker's going to do to him. And, you know, he's always, like, flying off of all this stuff and just doing all kind of crazy stuff. Like, you know, there's no limits with him, you know, when it comes to wrestling. Because, you know, Shane, he is a risk taker in the ring. He really is a risk taker in the ring. So, you know, they had this little highlight reel of him, you know, doing all these crazy feats in his matches. Because he actually has had a lot of matches. But he still is not really, like, an active wrestler. But he has had a lot of matches. And he's actually beaten some big names in wrestling. So that's just the way that goes. But anyway, you know, Vince is like, oh, you know, I got this. And then Stephanie's like, oh, well, what if you don't got this? And he's like, you know, I got this. And he just... Oh, man. Okay. I think they should have had The Undertaker out this time. Honestly, The Undertaker is almost like a third wheel in this. Only because it's like, you know, like a family feud kind of thing going on. Undertaker, even though he is not the henchman, he's still kind of like thrown into that role. Only because he's just like, you know, I'm going to just beat the shit out of somebody. It just happens to be your son. And the blood's going to be on your hands. The blood of your son is going to be on your hands, like he said. You know, it's just, I don't know, like, it's just kind of weird how he's like thrown in there. Like, they probably could have put somebody else in there, but by it being, you know, The Undertaker at WrestleMania, I guess they just had to make it like the craziest dilemma for Shane to fight for control of Raw. So I guess I can understand that. Honestly, I think something else is going to happen. I don't know, man. I really don't see Shane McMahon walking out of WrestleMania with his hand held high, defeating The Undertaker. I really don't. If he does, it really will be either a miracle or obviously something else is going to happen. I don't know. Like, I want to say what I think is going to happen, but I don't know. I almost don't want to jinx it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I have my thoughts, though, about what I think might happen there, but it's just going to be an interesting one. It really is. There was some other stuff, you know, Ambrose comes out, starts, you know, threatening Triple H, and basically, I mean, he's almost to the point where he's kind of like a tweener, leaning more on the side of a heel, saying he's going to, like, screw everything up at Roadblock, where he defeats Triple H and becomes a WWE champion, and, you know, just that whole thing. honestly, by it being a raucous Chicago crowd, I didn't really find like the reaction from Ambrose when he came out and started, cutting his promo. I didn't really find that reaction really that good or receiving. I guess that's a good way to say that. They kind of fell flat. Like, they almost didn't even like care that he was out there talking. Like, they weren't booing him. They weren't really cheering him. They were just like, it's just another segment kind of thing. So I kind of felt that was, I don't know. I kind of felt that was strange, honestly, because Chicago is a really big wrestling town. They're very, very vocal, and I kind of felt that was kind of strange. So then Triple H comes out. He's like, oh, I fight on my terms and all that shit. So then he throws him in a match with Bray Wyatt. Of course, those guys have fought a million times on pay-per-view and on regular TV. So just the era we live in with wrestling. So anyway, obviously that match ended in a DQ from the Wyatts after the lights turn off and the whole, crazy Wyatt thing where they go and surround the ring like friggin' buzzard hounds and shit. I don't know. And then I felt this was kind of interesting though. Bray Wyatt, is standing face to face with Triple H and he taps the championship belt. I felt that was a cool little spot there, but I don't know, man. I just don't know. Obviously, that storyline, the Undertaker storyline, seems to be one of the bigger ones. I said they weren't holding as much weight, but it looks like they're, by them having those guys come out and do their segment at the first part, have it be the first segment, I think they are holding a lot of weight with it, even though they had the Undertaker return right in the middle of the show last week. So it's kind of strange, but I don't know. Just to wrap this up with this whole dilemma here with the McMahons. If Shane does get control of Monday Night Raw somehow, if he defeats the Undertaker, I really don't know what he's going to do. He says he's going to do all this crazy stuff. Obviously, I would assume authority is gone. I don't really see anybody, thinking that he will not do that to them. They're going to be gone, off TV. They were thinking of restarting the brand extension. Obviously, splitting Raw and SmackDown into two separate brands again. If Shane does become in control of Monday Night Raw, then that might set up to have somebody else be in control of SmackDown kind of thing. So, I don't know. I just don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see, though. It really is. I do look forward to SmackDown. I look forward to Roadblock on Saturday. I hope everybody else does. Enjoy those shows. Obviously enjoy Raw next week. Enjoy the road to WrestleMania. I'm going to get the fuck out of here, and I will see you when I see you.